All this week, I want us to talk about the work of the Holy Spirit in our lives and the many functions that we should realize, we should appreciate, and certainly we should surrender to. Good morning. This is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Monday. When Jesus was leaving this world, he promised he would send us a comforter. Now, these disciples were a pretty close band that may have thought they could take care of themselves. They could take care of each other, perhaps, during troubling times. And they really didn't know what was coming to face them in the future. And we certainly don't know today what kind of things that we may face in the future either. Someone may even show their concern and tell us that they're praying for us. But they don't really know how to pray or what types of things even to pray about. And to be honest, we are often at a loss as to how to pray about these things ourselves. We may simply pray for God's will to be done in some situations, but that's pretty simple. We don't really know what that is. Paul tells the church at Rome that they not only have a comforter, but they also have an advocate with the Holy Spirit. He says in Romans 8, verse 26, "Likewise, the Spirit also helps in our weaknesses, for we do not know what we should pray for as we ought. But the Spirit himself makes intercessions for us with groanings which cannot be uttered." This is that secret prayer that we will never hear and probably don't expect and certainly don't even realize oftentimes that the Spirit is intervening on our behalf. This is, first of all, he says he helps us in our weaknesses. We don't really know and understand all the weaknesses that we have in this mortal body, what kind of real needs that we're to combat in the future. Jesus even told Peter in Luke chapter 22 that he had prayed for him because he knew that Peter was about to deny him, and he was actually looking for a positive outcome to follow that kind of betrayal. This verse in Romans says, sometimes we don't know what we should pray for. So that's when the Spirit, who is living within our hearts, who steps in and he prays those things that are needful for us and perhaps even for others around us in that type of situation. I love the idea of intercession, don't you? I mean, we can read about Jesus' intercession for his followers in John chapter 17, when he gave that high priestly prayer for each of them. And by the way, he also prayed for us, talking about his future disciples that would come because of them. Others may put us on their prayer list, but they don't really realize all of our needs. But when the Spirit intercedes on our behalf, he knows our problems, he knows God's solution, and he prays for those two things to intersect in our lives and our hearts supernaturally. You know, the verse says, these are groanings which cannot be uttered, which I think shows his deep care for our needs, but it also proves that we can't really know how to pray for these things. We just need to realize if the Holy Spirit is living within me and he sees my needs clearly, both physically and spiritually, and he is praying for God's will in these things, we can take comfort in that. We can not only take comfort, we can also yield ourselves safely to follow his lead in our lives.